Hi, my name is Dashiell and I work at the Brazilian Federal Court of Accounts, or TCU in Portuguese. I'm going to be one of the mentors in this course on preparedness audits on the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, also known as the 2030 Agenda. I'm here firstly to welcome you all to this course. The team from IDI is doing their best to put together a course that not only will be useful for the audits in your countries, but will also contribute to develop a whole of government perspective in our works from now on. I'm also here to share with you a bit of what TCU has already found working with the 2030 Agenda. I have coordinated TCU's first audit on Brazilian government's preparedness for implementing the SDGs at the national level. Besides of working with the process of implementation of the SDGs in the strategic level, we have also conducted some work along with the line ministries responsible for implementing a specific SDG target. The target we chose to work with was target 2.4. This target is very complex itself. It speaks mainly of sustainable food production, but it also includes other themes such as ecosystems maintenance, adaptation to climate changes, resilience to extreme weather conditions, soil quality, and so on. But if you think about it, this target goes way beyond these themes I just mentioned. That is because we cannot achieve a sustainable food production if the whole of the government is not working together in a coherent and aligned way. I'll talk a little bit about the results of this audit, and I hope you will be able to understand what I mean. Okay, so I'll be showing you a panorama for the sustainable food production in Brazil. So the first program we will be talking about is the program for the organic food production. The goal of this program is to allow Brazil to have a healthier food production and also to cause less damage to the environment. And along with this program, we also have a couple of other programs that are related to the achievement of the target 2.4. For example, we have a program for low carbon production. We also have a program for technical assistance and rural extension for the farmer. The government also wants to reduce the use of pesticides, and for that to be possible, it has to stimulate the use of sustainable alternatives. Well, this is the ideal situation. However, not everything is working in tandem for the achievement of the target 2.4. Both the organic food production program and the low carbon production program have goals that complement each other, which means they are somewhat aligned. However, we still do not have a program for reducing the use of pesticides. That is because the ministries could not agree on how this program should be. Besides that, our technical assistance program is insufficient. That means it does not stimulate the farmers to go from a production that uses a lot of pesticides to a production that applies agroecological techniques. Also, we do not have yet a program for sustainable alternatives, which means the government does not have a policy of stimulant for those farmers who want to make use of sustainable alternatives. And that's not all, because the government has also other actions that are not that obvious, but also affect the achievement of the target 2.4. The government's policies for credit and insurance for the farmers do not stimulate the farmers to move to an organic food production system. Although the credit lines and the insurance modalities for organic production are supposedly more attractive, the lack of capacitation of the agents and the bureaucracy makes it much harder for the farmers to access these modalities. But most important of all, Brazil has a fiscal policy that encourages the farmers to keep using pesticides. Pesticides are exempt from any taxes that apply to production, commercialization, and importation. So even though it's not formal, Brazil has a policy for stimulating the use of pesticides. And it does that at the same time it tries to stimulate the use of sustainable alternatives. This means the goals from these two policies may get in conflict sometimes. So the question here is, how is Brazil going to be able to reach the target 2.4 if the policies that are related to its achievement are not coherent among themselves? Well, this was just one example of how a single SDG target can be affected by many programs and public policies. The goals stated on the 2030 agenda address what we call wicked problems, which means problems that are very complex and have no simple solution. The only way the government will be able to face the challenges presented by the wicked problems is to adopt a whole-of-government perspective, where the many bodies from the government work in an integrated way. And we, as supreme audit institutions, must induce that change in governmental behavior. We can do that by using a whole-of-government approach in our audits as well. That means we can no longer look at a single program or a single policy, but rather we have to consider cross-cutting issues in our analysis. Only this way we will be fulfilling our roles as SAIs in the 2030 Agenda for the Sustainable Development. Well, thank you very much for your attention, and see you all in the course.